Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
No, we know that, one, Eddie, kind of likes those moments, but I'm going to bet on Raj every time. I mean, Raj is as good of a left-hander out of the bullpen as you're going to find anywhere in baseball. He has been for a very long time. I think he just, missed with a pitch in the middle of the plate, and, Eddie put a good swing on it, and that happens sometimes. But, again, I'm going to bet on our guy because of the kind of player he is, and in spots like that, he comes up big vast majority of the time.
Raj. His guy Raj.
Raj. I was wrong, by the way, before the show here, so we're going to start the show with an on-air production meeting. Okay. Declan said, one of us, I feel like, predicted Eddie Rosario would have a game-winning hit, and I told you guys, I think it was Judd, and I'm pretty sure he said walk-off. And we will do this officially and write that down next week, but just so you know, the exact phrasing of your prediction, Judd, was Eddie Rosario will have a game-winning hit in at least one game against the Twins in 2021. Look at you. Starting the weekend off with a correct.
And I might predict next week that he'll have another one as well, because I'm confident with how much these two teams play. Rosario will spend his entire season trying to get revenge on the Twins.
I also have a feeling that Rocco was told by the front office, hey, pump Raj's tires as much as possible to the media because we need to trade him in the next month. All right, just pump his tires.
Do you know what helped our guy? I figured it out. What helped Rosario? There's no question about it.
Red cow.
Red cow helped. You know what? When I go there, I always feel refreshed. I feel good. Good meal. Great beer selection, right?
Wow.
I love Red Cow. I'm not
Red
gonna
Cow
lie.
is not even paying for that. But
no.
We do have openings if you would like to be inserted as Red Cow or somebody else. Send an email to pmackey@scorenorth.com. Are you guys ready for a little feedback Friday here today?
Yes, absolutely. I'll be there
Declan's like, I don't care. I'll just be at the end of the bar.
I'll be there regardless.
I said feedback Friday, not feedbag Friday. Maybe you misinterpreted me. But
how about drinking Friday, Phil?
That works as well. We'll get to Rom-Com Rewind, a mid-'90s classic, a little bit later on here. But every Friday, we like to go through our social media mentions and the Score North YouTube comment section and take feedback and questions and comments from you guys. And listen, John Appleseed is not even on our payroll, and he says, this is my favorite YouTube channel, and I watch a lot of YouTube. So listen, John, your check is not in the mail, but we appreciate you.
Thank you, Johnny Appleseed.
Let's start with Christian Doer. He says, when listening to you guys talk about combo guards who are leading their teams right now, I love how y'all mention Anthony Edwards' potential to be like them. However, unlike the Jazz, Hawks, and Suns, we have two combo guards with the ability to take over games. D'Lo had all the traits you described back when he played in Brooklyn. He had that dog mentality and that clutch gene and all the intangibles. So I feel like we've been really positive and optimistic about the Wolves all week. And Christian is saying, yes, thank you guys for being positive, but here's another level to the optimism. When you guys look at the Timberwolves, do you look at Ant and D'Lo and say, wow, like they actually have more potential weapons than some of these teams we're seeing late in the NBA playoffs?
I guess I don't a little bit because of the weapons the teams that are still alive have are so strong right now, and Ant's not there yet. He hopefully will develop that. I'm certainly not putting it past Ant to do exactly that. D'Lo doesn't play a lot of defense. This goes back to what I said a couple days ago. I've got to see what Chris Finch has in store, like once these guys get more practice time and actual work together, because I think what we got was in a lot of ways throughout the course of 2021, Phil, just sort of snapshots of things. But when you fire your coach in February, bring in a new coach from another organization who clearly can't install a bunch of stuff, you're doing your best to make it up as you go along. But yeah, you know what? The optimism, I think, for the first time in a long time, is warranted. Mm-hmm. Don't you?
Yes, I do. And I know that there's probably a lot of people that, rightfully so, just say, like, if you guys can't, it's been 15 years mostly of just absolute garbage outside of the one Jimmy Butler year. You guys can't continue to sell positivity. I'll believe it when I see it. And listen, if that's the side of the fence you're on as a Wolves fan, I totally get that. D'Lo, I will grant Christian here in this YouTube comment. D'Lo with Brooklyn. So we think of Brooklyn now as like it's the super team. It's Kevin Durant and Kyrie and James Harden but the Brooklyn team that popped a couple years ago was a totally different roster, basically led by D'Lo. I mean, D'Lo had his first breakout All-Star season. He was the guy with the ball in his hand at the end of games, and all of the chatter was about how D'Lo has finally, as a former second overall pick who looked like he might be kind of a bust with the Lakers, and he emerged. And then since then, obviously, he's bounced around to the Warriors and now the Timberwolves. But he was that guy in Brooklyn for a team that went to the playoffs. So I can listen to that for sure. Neither one of those guys plays defense, but I don't know how much defense Trae Young has been playing. So let's see here. Kong 0812 on Ben Simmons. He says 2 firsts for one guy who can't shoot. Get the bleep out of here. You complain so much about Rubio and Culver's shooting, but now you guys want to trade for a guy who can't shoot but can only play
This is
defense.
Judd's burner account. This is actually Judd.
Yeah, hold on a second here. I never said I want to. I've expressed reservations about this and genuine concerns about this, but the guy is so good in other facets of the game, I'm not dismissing it automatically.
I think so. To even put Ben Simmons in the same sentence as Ricky Rubio and Jarrett, I mean, these should be 3 separate sentences. Jarrett Culver is a complete bust in every possible way. All right, so he's out. Ricky Rubio has been a good, solid contributor and leader for about a decade in the NBA. Who can't shoot, right? Ben Simmons, the only thing he has in common with Ricky Rubio is neither one of them is good at shooting. Rubio is actually a better shooter than Ben Simmons. But Ben Simmons is 6'11", is maybe the best perimeter defender in the entire league. He's maybe even as good of a passer as Ricky Rubio in terms of just creating looks for his teammates, and he's an excellent rebounder. So, if you're just putting those guys in the same sentence because they're not that good at shooting, okay, yeah, like he can't shoot that well. But he's much more valuable than Ricky Rubio, and don't even get me started putting Jarrett Culver in this sentence. So if you want to make an argument that he's not going to be that helpful on the Timberwolves, or you don't want to give up D'Lo for him, that's fine. But I think people are taking their Ben Simmons slander way too far. Yeah. Like they're taking it beyond like he can't shoot free throws. You know, Shaq couldn't shoot free throws. Was he a worthless garbage player? No, he was dominant in all these other areas. So.
And if you're the Wolves, you also, if you make a trade like that, and just to go back to the comment, let's say you do give up 2 first-round picks. If you have a feel for the fact that those first-round picks are now going to be, 1 year pick 23 and the next year pick 25, you'll do that in a heartbeat. So that's the question, I think, is what does the trade do for you? How much does the trade improve you? And theoretically, it should a lot. But yes, I am concerned about a guy who appears to be mentally broken right now, and if that's going to come back, or I don't know, it just seems like this is not done yet, because Ben Simmons has worked on a shot a ton before, he's improved it, and then it goes off the rails again when it matters.
I don't see. Here's the thing: I don't know how much he's worked on it. I don't know. Are you like getting that from like articles or something? Or
we talked about this 2 or 3 years back. He was 2 years back, I think. He did the same thing.
He's not putting in the same work as like top players in the NBA. And if he's putting in like 1,000 shots a day and it still looks like that, then someone needs to show him how to work differently.
2 or 3 years ago, we had the conversation about him, and there was no threat, I don't think, at the time that he was probably going to be traded back then, but he definitely was attempting to fix things, and they thought that they could fix it. I'm not positive it's fixable.
Well, I don't think he's ever going to be Steph Curry. I guess what I'm saying is I don't care as much about him not being able to shoot, because I don't need him to be the number 1 player on my team. I need him to be the number 3 player on my team and fix a bunch of things that the other players can't fix.
But you'll care about it in the playoffs if he basically can't shoot. But I get what you're saying, but I think if you get to where the Sixers were, it becomes a real issue. And to me, it was way more mental than probably something that he was actively doing wrong. I think he gets psyched out by the moment, the situation, and then it becomes even worse than it was previously.
And I'm saying it was more of an issue with the Sixers because Ben Simmons is actually a great scorer inside 15 feet. He gets to the rim at will. And the problem with Philadelphia is Joel Embiid wants to be down there too. And so Simmons is sort of left like, all right, well, if he's going to be down there, then I got to be out here on the perimeter, and then teams can leave him open, and it's weird. It's like when it really is, if you want to make the Rubio comparison, there were all those years the first time around for Rubio where things would get too clogged, like Gorgie would be down there, and they'd have like Wiggins couldn't really shoot, and so at the end of these games, defenses could just pack in the paint and dare Ricky Rubio to shoot the ball. So much like we talked about with Rubio, he needs to be on a team with a bunch of shooters so that he can just drive in, kick, and then they can put the opposing team in the spin cycle. Ben Simmons needs to be on a team with shooters, and so. If you have to wind up trading Malik Beasley and D'Lo, who are two of your best shooters, to get him, then maybe it doesn't make sense. But if he's on a team with Cat who can shoot, D'Lo who can shoot, Beasley who can shoot, and again, there's almost no way to acquire him and keep all those guys.
Right.
But if he goes to a team where he's got 3 or 4 shooters and doesn't have a guy clogging the lane, then I think this conversation would be a lot different. Because there are a lot of good players in the NBA that don't shoot well from 3 or free throw range. Russell Westbrook can't shoot. I mean,
right,
yeah,
but
people
he's
talk
not,
about it a little bit, but
right, but he's not broken mentally. That's what I would need to find out. Like there's a difference between knowing what you do and don't do well and being comfortable and even to a certain point probably cocky, and then just being broke when it actually matters most, and then it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
So like if he's like, you know what, here's what I do well, don't care about the rest, or I'm actually more okay with that than, oh my God, it's the playoffs. What's going on? TNT's talking about me again, aren't they? What's Chuck saying?
Sure. We posted a poll a few days ago, right after the NBA draft lottery froze the Wolves out. Okay, now that we know that it's the 7th overall pick and Andrew Wiggins for D'Lo, now that the trade is complete, was it worth it? And we posted 2 potential answers. No, it was too steep of a price. Or yes, had to say goodbye to Wiggins. 71% said yes, it was worth it to say goodbye to Andrew Wiggins. Are you guys surprised by that result?
I'm pleasantly surprised a little bit, but I really think that the majority of fans, the thing about it is the people that push back on Twitter lots of times are in the minority, and we see that and think, oh my God, the fans think this, right? I think the majority of people totally got that. And the important thing is with Wiggy, he had to be traded, and they were Golden State. I don't care what he does there or did there this past season. Golden State was doing you a favor by taking the contract. Mm-hmm. So like it wasn't oh my God, look how Andrew Wiggins, he scored 40. Of course he did sometimes. He's going to do that. That's him. He'd do it here too. But this notion of some that, oh my God, he had a good game. I mean, look at what he's doing there. It was never the point. The point was, will you take the contract and can we get something back? And the first round pick was the sweetener of, okay, we'll take it, right? So I do think a lot of people get that. But the people that go on Twitter and complain and moan and groan look to be the majority when they're really, really not.
Yeah, this is probably a good reflection of what you just said, which is I kind of felt like it would be the opposite. I legitimately thought like 2/3 of people would say, oh my God, you gave up that much for D'Lo? He never plays. So pleasantly surprised too. Like it's revisionist history to say, well, it's too much to give up. In the moment, everybody was saying, you just have to get Andrew Wiggins out of here at any cost. And I think we even were asking, would you attach a first-round pick to him just to be done with it?
And we 100% did for quite a while.
And our answer was, yeah, just whatever. Just first-round pick, okay, just go away. And if you look at 7th overall picks in the last 20 or 25 years in NBA history, it's a lot of just kind of meh players. Steph Curry was a 7th overall pick, but Randy Foye, I mentioned Bismack Biyombo on our show with Dane the other day. Like, just a bunch of random dudes that you would totally... I think Corey Brewer was a 7th overall pick by the Timberwolves. So would you trade Andrew Wiggins and Corey Brewer for D'Lo to get rid of that contract? 100%.
Yes.
100%.
Yes. If that had been the 4th pick, it hurts a lot. I think the 7th pick, okay, cool.
Yeah. It's kind of funny that in the NFL draft, the 7th pick could still be a franchise quarterback or something. But in the NBA draft, it's like...
It's Jarrett Culver.
Yeah, exactly. What was he, 6th overall or something?
Something like that,
yeah.
I tweeted out the other day here, Feedback Friday. Drives me nuts when people say the Twins should just be done with Buxton or just get rid of him. The Twins are 152 over the last 3 years when Buxton plays. Couple responses on both sides of the fence. Amish guy says, how many chances is he going to get? This is becoming ridiculous, in my opinion. Might as well get the Minnesota sports curse headed toward its logical conclusion, a trade to the Yankees, where he'll play 162 games a season for most of the remainder of his career and become a Hall of Famer. Greg Warren says, figure out a way to work with him. Do anything you can to keep him in the lineup. If the Twins trade him, I am out on this franchise. He can be a greater difference maker than Kirby Puckett. And I don't mean to disregard a legend, but look at the results. So your thoughts on this? Because I think a lot of people are now in the camp of, oh my God, like how many more times? Just get rid of him. Just be done with it. So now that you guys have had sort of the week to think on this Buxton thing,
well, he got hit by a pitch now, and I don't know how you look. There was a time where I wrote multiple columns saying, quit crashing into fences, quit trying to scale the wall. You're doing this to yourself. You're diving for the ball in Cleveland and suffering a whiplash concussion, and that was frustrating. But my God, look at now. I mean, the hip. He's running. Like he's running to first base. He gets hit by a pitch against the same team, the Reds. He gets hit in the head right before the playoffs, suffers another concussion. Then he comes back and gets hit in the hand. It breaks his hand. So I don't know what the answer here is, because this is the worst luck I've ever seen a person have as far as just can never stay on the field, but I don't blame him. And I really do believe he wants to play badly. The only thing I said when they didn't play him in Seattle and then they eventually activated him in Texas on Saturday of last week was my belief is if it's something he can play through, you need to get rid of this. He has to be 100% or he's not playing. But bleep that. He can be 65%. He's still a generational talent. So, but I don't know what you do here. And to be clear, the one thing is I know a lot of fans are mad at him. And I guess my question now is why? Like, look at the injuries. He's not doing anything now to get hurt. I mean, he got hit by a pitch. That's not really his fault. So
well, I think they're mad, period. And like,
but it's
there's
frustrating.
no one to take. He's just there to take your frustration out on it, right? I mean, is there anything he could do differently?
But don't you at times feel empathy for a guy like this? That's what I feel. I feel empathy for him. Like if he was doing stupid things, or he was a stupid player, or he didn't, or he sat out a lot. You know, he's like, I need another day off, and then I'd be mad at him. But he's not. I feel empathy for him, and I feel empathy for us too. Because here's the thing: I want to watch this guy play. Do you know how much fun this guy is to watch play? Like this is again. I think I said this before I got hurt. A player baseball needs. This is a player baseball needs badly.
Is this the first time in your life you felt empathy, Judd?
Yeah.
For an athlete?
For an athlete.
I felt some for Teddy when his knee buckled, because that was really sad. Well, his knee buckled. His leg blew up.
Exploded. My knee buckles when I go to the fridge. His exploded.
It was very, very sad. I felt empathy for him. Yeah, I mean, I don't feel, well, it buckled and then blew up. I don't often feel empathy, but the Buxton thing just makes me really sad because, I mean, he's such a fun player. You know what? The Sano thing, deep down, it's frustrating. I don't care that much. Care. But I mean, you know what? Miguel Sano, okay, bust, whatever, dude. You had your chance. You helped blow it. You might never have been as good as we thought you were going to be. All of that's true. But I really deep down don't care. Buxton, I care deeply. I want to see this guy play. He would be one of the best athletes, I think, in the history of sports in this town. If he's healthy.
Yeah.
With that skill set.
He's one of the 5 best players in baseball right now when he's on the field. And I would say, I think, so he's played 152 games or whatever it is, which is about half the games that they've played, because they played 162 in 2009. This goes back to the beginning of 19. So 162, then they played 60.
Carry the 5.
So 220, and they've played 70. So they've played about 300 games, and he's played about half.
Yep.
And the fact that they win 2 out of every 3 games when he's on the field is nuts. And I don't know if that's sustainable. Obviously, part of it is because they've also had Nelson Cruz, and they've had a good team. It's not as simple as Byron Buxton and random dudes. But would I pay $30 million a year for 50% of attendance? No, but people are just dismissing his impact. You'd rather have him for half the games than not have him at all. And then it comes down to, well, okay, how much money? Is his agent going to want full price? It's kind of like back in the day when the Wolves and Flip Saunders were negotiating with Nikola Pekovic. And his agent, Doogie was reporting on this, and his agent said, well, I think my guy's a max player. He's a 20-10 guy. He's one of the best interior scorers in the NBA. And Flip Saunders said, I agree, he's a max guy, prorated to the 60% of games he plays every year.
Right. Yeah.
So that's pretty much the conversation, right? Like, I'd rather have 50% of games with him having an impact than not have him at all. Mm-hmm. I'd rather have loved and lost than to never have loved at all.
And I think he's going to walk. I do think he's going to walk.
Or maybe he'll be on crutches.
Or crutch away.
Maybe he'll limp.
Crawl away.
That's awful. You're heartless. You're heartless.
I love how the tables have turned. Judd's been a sociopath on this show for 7 years with no emotion, no empathy. All players are.
No, but this guy, I
these
want to see him
players
play.
aren't. You literally on Purple Daily last week were ranting about how these players aren't humans. You must treat them as
football players aren't humans.
These players are entities.
They're pieces of a puzzle. Football players are pieces. You know how brutal that sport is? You think they care about people in football?
Apparently baseball's brutal too, if you ask Byron Buxton. So
yeah, well, it's true.
All right, that's Feedback Friday here. Yeah, you can hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, the YouTube comment section. We've got 2 YouTube channels, youtube.com/ScoreNorthMN and Purple Daily Podcast. Click that subscribe button, and we'll in turn give you daily Minnesota sports entertainment.